My name's Darren McMullen. I'll be chairing this event. I've done a lot of shows with MTV internationally over the years, which is probably why they asked me. I wasn't their first choice, but neither was Ringo Starr, so look what happened to him. I'd like to introduce first Comedy Central's Director of Development, Sarah Farrell, on the end. We have from MTV UK, Steve Regan, and from MTV International, Ilya Kolik-Antic, who is the Director of External Development, MTV Brands, MTV International. You can clap if you want. Woo! Come on! How are you guys?
Very well, thanks.
Thanks for joining me. Sarah, let's start with you. It's been a fantastic year for Comedy Central. We have a little bit of a clip I'd like to show. Roll the tape! That was great. Should we just keep watching that?
I know, I can do that again. It makes me lose lemon as well.
So there's been a big push for original content over the past year at Comedy Central. How's that been working out for you guys?
It's all been going really well. On top of what they were saying, they're 80% in the last 3 years. Our ratings are up 35% year on year. And we've actually grown more than any other channel in 1634. So it's really, you know, it's alongside the juggernauts like 2.5 Men and South Park and Friends. We introduced Threesome Series 1, which went really well. It was actually our third highest rating show last year. And we've been doing a huge amount of development on the more scripted stuff. So yeah, really good.
So it is a big part of what you want to do in the future, original content from the UK? Absolutely,
yeah. We sort of want to do at least 2 or 3 series every year. UK.
What are the feelings there? I mean, because you know, presumably it's a lot easier for you just to acquire the shows from overseas and play them, and they are so successful, as we've seen. I think it was 2.5 Men was the biggest launch on your channel last year, the premiere with Ashton Kutcher.
You got about nearly 1.5 million for Ashton Kutcher's launch. Yeah, his bottom I think was 1.5 million people watched. The thinking behind it is that. Mainly, you know, it's nice to have UK stuff there, and I think our audience is a very young 16 to 34 audience. I think they sort of expect to see some homegrown stuff there. And you can't rely always on those shows coming out of the screenings. You don't know when the next 2.5 Men is going to come along. It's not every year you get that. And I think we know what our audience wants, and we should be doing it ourselves as well.
So how should people come about pitching you? What's the process?
It's really simple. Everybody's got my email address, I think. If not, I'm sure you can find it. Or I can tell you afterwards. Please come in, send us your ideas. Literally just get a dialogue going with people so we can explain what we want. And we work directly with writers or with production companies to sort of explain what we're looking for and really hone it. It's quite a simple message that I think it said it a lot on there, that we're looking for very bold, warm, accessible comedy. So that's it really, just start talking to us and start going.
Is there a lot of space on the channel for original content?
Yeah, we don't have particular slots to fill. It's just the more stuff we can do, the better. We want to pilot as many shows as we possibly can. Like I said, get as many shows on there as we can as well.
Well, Threesome's actually brilliant. If you haven't seen it, guys, we do have a clip of Threesome. Here
it is. This is the new series. This is from the new series, which is still in edit. So.
That was great. I mean, did you expect that show to do so well and come back for a second season?
Oh, we absolutely. We never commission anything without thinking it can run for at least 3 or 4 seasons. There's no point us investing in one season. So we're really pleased with how well it did, and hopefully we can build on that with Series 2.
Yeah. You mentioned before, you know, you are keen to do as many pilots as possible. Just how many pilots are you able to commission in a year?
Absolutely. There isn't a limit to it. It's a limit. It's how many shows we can get that are exactly right. And I think that's the key, is, you know, finding the right show for what is, you know, it's very hard to find things that can sit alongside shows like 2.5 Men and Mike and Molly and those really big US multi-camera sitcoms. So if we found 10, we'd make 10. You know, that's the story really.
Yeah. You have a new show coming up called Big Bad World.
We do. We've been piloting. We just did a pilot very recently for that. It went very well, starring Blake Harrison. There was a clip of it earlier. And we have just signed that off for an 8-part series, which we'll be filming later this year for transmission early next year, which is very exciting.
Just so happens we have a clip of that as well. Roll the clip. Have you got any other scripts in development at the moment?
Yeah, we've got about, about 12 other shows in development, 3 or 4 which are really sort of on the 3rd draft of the script that are looking really good, so we'll make a decision on doing something with those soon. But we are absolutely looking for more stuff. It's really about finding a single camera show with multi-camera sensibilities, I think. You know, that sort of warm, laugh out loud, really, really accessible. Our audience isn't looking for the really cool stuff from us. They're looking for things that make them laugh out now. Not that comedy of embarrassment, but that sort of, oh, I get that. That's happened to me. So, you know, physical humour side of things and the, you know, straightforward set-up jokes and set pieces, which obviously Big Bad World delivers in spades. Yeah.
Would you consider doing a lot of scripted stuff as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We're quite ambitious in our, I mean, you know, eight to us is quite ambitious, but we definitely see that series 2, we would go on to something like 13 or 16, and we want to start sort of pushing out to making as many as possible, making our money go as far as possible.
And in 2011, you guys had a whole rebrand. What was the idea behind that?
We started focusing much more on 1634, seeing as we're doing so well in it. That's quite handy, isn't it? And we wanted something that really represented, you know, how cheeky and fun our channel is. And I think the channel itself does really brilliantly, the marketing department, make it look so fun and involving, and I tend to laugh as much in between the shows as I do when I'm watching them. So we wanted something that was cheeky and friendly and accessible. You know, like I said, we're not too cool for school like maybe E4 are, and we're not bound by public service like other channels. And I think that what's happened really represents that and represents the programme we've got on air.
Okay, thank you. Patiently waiting over here, Steve Regan from MTV UK. Let's have a look what you guys have been up to over the last year. I think the obvious question is, where the hell do you find these people?
Juliet, who's sitting over there, she started the casting period last year, before I arrived, actually. And there was a tape that Juliet did with these 2 people that were amazing. We couldn't get them on their show because their CRBs couldn't get quite free. And so then we spent about 6 months casting in Newcastle. So it was a long time to find that very talented cast.
Was it a bit of a no-brainer for you guys because you'd seen the success of the Jersey Shore? You kind of knew this was going to work? Or?
Well, it just rhymed. So Georgie rhymed to Jersey, and it literally was that, I think, that simple. And Juliet's tape was amazing. It was really funny. And loads of people said to me it was going to be terrible because obviously Jersey Shore is about a load of Italian Americans going to a beach, and we're filming in Newcastle in November. And we just thought, if you go to Newcastle, it is probably the funniest place in Britain. And their sense of humour, and they're bright and they're funny. So we just thought we've got to do it, and we didn't know whether it would last past 1 series.
Yeah. Going strong?
Yep, definitely. It's the highest ever rating MTV hit. Yeah, it's going great.
Another quality drama hitting the TV screens on MTV very shortly is The Valleys.
Yeah.
I believe we have a clip of that as well.
Oh, I thought you were doing that at the end.
It's like the George last night, wasn't it?
Exactly.
What was going on in the George
last night? So we're just.
Do you want more of this kind of stuff pitched to you? Are you looking for more of that?
We've commissioned. We love it. I think the show's absolutely brilliant. I think The Valleys is fantastic. We've commissioned 6 episodes. We always commission 6, see if it rates, and then. You know, that goes out in September. If that rates, we're going to want to bring that back. But no, what we really want to do next is we want a format. I even hate saying that word, format. It's always an annoying word. We want something that's dealing with appearance, that perhaps doesn't feel like a format, that feels like a reality show, but we don't really want to do another Cast Says programme. However, I could be full of shit. If that rates, I'll probably be asking people to give me more Cast Says programmes. But we think it's a really good show.
Where is the next reality cast hiding, I wonder? Maybe Edinburgh.
George Shore?
George Shore.
I don't know. I mean, you know, you've got Chelsea, you've got Essex. We did look at doing Merseyside for a while. And I mean, we're gonna get heaps of criticism for The Valleys, we know that. But I think we would have got worse criticism by Merseyside because we would literally commission the same show. And in The Valleys, we are obviously, that trailer's showing you the best of the worst. But the programme is different, you know, to Georgie in that we have taken a group of kids and we are trying to, hopefully, they can change their lives. So we do feel that's different. If we'd just done Merseyside, we would have got even worse criticism. But I don't know when the next place is. We've looked at places, but I just think we've done well. We've done Newcastle. That's about it now.
Is the criticism, you know, part of the reason that you guys do it? No. The controversy and no. You know, it will generate press and.
I mean, I'd be lying to say when the first episode of Geordie went out and the next day you had the Sun and the Star going absolutely... It was funny that it was the Sun and the Star going mental as well. it'd be lying to go, you don't, to a certain extent, you don't go, yeah. And then afterwards, it became so negative, and the girls in particular had such a hard time that you don't love that. And I do think on the valleys, I think in some ways, I think it could be even harder on the first episode, because you've got 9 kids and they feel that being in the valleys, you know, they can't achieve what they want to achieve. So it's their words. They're also very pro about the valleys and very pro about Wales, but they're just honest about the limited opportunities. And I just don't think people are like hearing that. Hopefully, you know, by episode 4, a bit like Newcastle, I remember when we used to go down there after the first series aired, you know, cab drivers used to have a go at us. Now they tend to love the programme. Hopefully it'll be the same in Wales.
Everyone's having a go at you, aren't they? You're getting harassed on your Facebook as well. God, we have some pictures of this argument that took place on your Facebook.
Well, you know, I just think it's like a little bit rough. It's like an entertainment show, and I think you're being a bit snobby. You don't have to like their behaviour. It just snowballed, you know. It was on the week that Britain's Got Talent was on, and he then started to say, you know, youth, people like you are scum, you're killing the youth, Pudsey the dog on X Factor, it's making people not realize got to work for a living. And it was all about entertainment. He's from a factual background as well. So he was basically saying that they're empty. It's empty programmes everywhere. And I was just going, that's entertainment. Entertainment isn't meant to, you know, it's not factual. It's not even fact in, it just is entertainment. Basically, he said it was our fault about gun crime, it was our fault that kids are getting stabbed in the streets. Then he started going about how Made in Chelsea was turning kids in London into the emptiest kids in the world, aspiring for handbags. I understand people getting angry about it, and I've had conversations with friends about Geordie Shore. Some people love it and some people hate it, but I often think it can be a little bit of a snobbery about it as well.
You did mention something there. You said, you know, it is just entertainment. How much of it is scripted, and
none of it is scripted. I think the difference is with Made in Chelsea and Essex. I don't make Made in Chelsea, and I might annoy somebody, but you know, they are scripted. You know, we cast those. I call them kids because obviously they're in their 20s. We cast those kids because they are brilliantly witty and they're really warm. And even if you don't always like what's going on screen, I think we've all had periods in our lives, especially in our 20s, where you are going out and you are getting drunk, you are pulling people. And so we cast them because of who they were and how they spoke. So we don't ever script them. What does happen is, and it was the same on the valleys actually, you know, we've got Monday to Saturday. We don't just want them in a nightclub. So, you know, we will structure stuff in the days that we know we want them to do. But we don't ever tell them what to say, ever, ever, ever. It's pointless.
So, moving away from these kind of shows, what is it that MTV UK wants next? What should people out there pitch to you guys?
I mean, what we really want, we want something. The thing is about the valleys and Geordie Shore is they're 10 o'clock shows. I mean, we did a 9 o'clock edit, and I mean, the show was about 24 minutes long. You just can't not put it on at 10 o'clock, and we love that, and we do love that. But I think we need also as well, 8 episodes, it nearly kills the cast, it nearly kills the crew. You know, after 5 weeks of filming, everyone's just dying. So we can never commission more than 8. And so I think we would like to commission something that we could move around the schedule, that going at 8 o'clock, going at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We want it formatted around appearance. It has to be funny. We'd only ever commission something that was funny. I'd like to come out with something that sounds really groundbreaking and intelligent, but that is about it. I mean, that is what we really want. We've only just started doing it. I've only got one idea at the moment that we like. We don't have loads of slots. We've got 1 slot next year for a brand new series. So we don't give tons of money, but we put lots of money into the programme, which I know is annoying because I think people would rather have more money. But so we are very open and we work with big and small companies.
Great, thank you. Ilya, MTV International. When does the show move on from being MTV UK to MTV International? Is there a crossover there between?
There is certainly some crossover. You know, I'm part of a team that looks for, develops and commissions ideas that play all across the world, excluding MTV US. Mm-hmm. So that's, at the last count, approximately 63 channels in about 152 countries worldwide. It's a huge footprint. And, you know, we take a great deal of MTV US programming, the Jersey Shores of this world, the Paulie D Project, Snooki and JWoww, all those shows. And we also look to kind of complement that with our own originated programming. which can come from suppliers anywhere in the UK, but also further abroad. So, you know, Geordie is a very interesting example of that. That hopefully will, you know, become an example of something that works locally and is emblematic of something that can resonate internationally as well, as our programme sales people will tell you.
Well, here's a little clip of some of the shows MTV International look after here. So what are the circumstances in which people would pitch to yourself instead of Steve for an idea?
Well, as I say, we're looking for ideas that can work all over the world. Steve and I, are, as I say, are part of this team that look at ideas that come from all sorts of indies. If there's something that doesn't feel particularly UK-specific, that we think can have a relevance to all of our international audience of millennials, 16 to 24-year-olds, then we will try and develop it and give it some sort of MTV magic dust, I guess.
Do British-made shows tend to travel well? I mean, what is the obsession people have, you think, for American-based content? It seems to travel the world, and everyone's okay with it on their screens.
I think that America is everywhere in the world. American, you know, cultural reference points are everywhere. American movies, American music, American TV. So if you're a 16-year-old watching in Brazil or in Germany, you're getting a lot of American culture anyway. It makes sense for us to extend that into MTV's outputs, which is why often a show that we're doing at the moment called Young and Married, which is an upcoming observational documentary series we're doing with Mentor, is cast and shot entirely in the States with American kids. It's about kids who are either about to get married at a relatively young age or have just been married. And it works. Our audiences in MTV territories all over the world get that. They get American voices, they get American, you know, as I say, cultural reference points. So yeah, that's what we look for.
We actually have a clip of that as well here.
Yeah.
Here it is, Young and Married.
It's warm.
Warm.
It's warm.
7 years, divorce, disaster, suing. This is an interesting idea, because this came from the UK.
Yeah.
But you decided to shoot it in America.
Yes.
What was the process there? Why not shoot it in Birmingham? Plenty of young married people.
Because, as I say, you know, as I said before, I think that we find that when we talk to our audience, which we try to do a great deal and understand what our audience want, our millennial audience want, we felt that American cast members would just work better when we play it out all over the world. So Mentor worked with some fantastic casting people in the States, and they've delivered a huge range of really, really touching, really warm, really relatable couples and stories. I mean, you know, the little clip you just saw there, Missy and Matt, who were if you can get past the blue hair and the piercings. At one point she says, someone asks her, why are you getting married so soon? They're only 19 and 20. And she says, he's got his own guitar and he's covered in tattoos. Like, well, to our audience, that's what you need, and that's great, that's true love. So people are saying to them, why wait? And they're saying, well, you know, there's no reason to wait. We love each other. We're going to get married now. So I think it's an example of the kind of thing that we do try and do in these genre of programs, which is it's a twofold thing. On one hand, we're holding a mirror up to our audience. We're saying, these people are just like you. And on the other side, they're doing something which is genuinely unusual, which is, you know, most 19, 20-year-olds aren't getting married. These guys are. It's kind of exciting and interesting to see how that plays out. And it's very, very emotional and really relatable, and it's just a fantastic show. So that's coming up early next year.
It's a big difference in tone, this show, compared to the Geordie shores and the Jersey shores of the world. Well, you know, are you moving more towards this way, or do you see a place for both platforms?
You know, MTV and, you know, by extension, Viacom International Media Networks, as the name suggests, it's a very, very broad church. We are an entertainment business. We encompass everything from scripted drama, obviously scripted comedy in terms of Sarah's remit, observational documentary, more fact-ent, more formats. You know, there is room for everything. So, yeah, you know, it's a very, very broad church, and I think it can. If you'd said 5 years ago, or if someone had said 5 years ago, you know, what will MTV be best known for? I think possibly people might have expected it to still be the sort of Jackass type of programming, people running past with their hair on fire, and actually, arguably, you know, things like fantastic shows like Teen Mum, 16 and Pregnant have paved the way for an interesting new sort of evolution of programs, which, as I say, just relate to what we believe our audience want and how our audience are. We hold a mirror up to their lives. We don't judge. We celebrate their lives, and I believe that genuinely that is what shows like Jersey Shore and Geordie Shore do, as much as things like Young and Married do.
been great success in America with the scripted shows, scripted dramas. You got room for that at MTV International?
We take, as you said, we take a lot of MTV US stuff. There's fantastic stuff like Awkward. You've seen those in the show called I Just Want My Pants Back. We do have an operation that looks after scripted comedy drama, who are based in the States. They do a lot of things such as telenovelas, which work very well in our Latin American markets, in Tres, our Hispanic language market over there. So there are opportunities. It's not something that I'm personally involved with, but there are always opportunities to pass on ideas. With the communication between all the multitudinous arms of MTV, the communication is good. We talk to each other a lot. We share ideas. We share intelligence. We share audience insight. And hopefully we'll find the best place to get the best ideas on screen.
Great. You've got a new show coming out called Plain Jane.
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about
that. We're in the middle of producing the second season of that. It's an interesting example of how we like to commission and work. It was originally a show that aired on the CW in the States. My boss, David Booth, did a deal with, it's part of Sony TV, the people who produce it, Gogglebox, who make a fantastic show over here. We took the CW series as an acquisition to run on MTV's international channels. As part of the deal, we acquired the rights to remake our own international version of it for MTV. So Series 1 played out last year. It was a fantastic hit, did wonderful things online, on Twitter and Facebook, and really sort of created a great deal of empathy with our audience. So much so that we're, as I say, on season 2, we've scaled up the production. We're doing 12 hours. We're traveling to New York, to Istanbul, to Marrakesh. And Louise Rowe, the presenter, is still doing a wonderful job of really, acting as something of a big sister to the girls in the show and giving them huge amounts of confidence to be the person they always want to be.
Let's have a look. Here's a clip of Plain Jane.
So obviously that's the promo, not the clip. Yeah. But it gives you a sense of what the show does. And people really respond to it really well. It's got elements of makeover, it's got a dating component at the end, but it's more than the sum of its parts. It's a really, really lovely show.
What kind of budget do you guys have to make shows like this?
They're healthy. Our budgets are healthy and competitive. I think we don't have set tariffs. We just want to try and make the best ideas we can. So we'd say, come and talk to us, come with your best ideas, and let's see if we can make them work.
Do you think the cost involved in making a show like this is significantly more than, say, a Geordie Shore or something like that? How much would Geordie Shore cost to make?
Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about the actual figures. I mean, it's really high. I think they're really high figures, especially for multi-channel, definitely. But I mean, pretty much, and even in the valleys as well, they're really expensive programs. And I know everyone says this, but it is true. If we really want the idea, we'll pay for it. And also, we put tons of money into marketing because we have to get people to come down. And it's worked on Jordan, we'll do it on Valleys. We do spend money when we love an idea.
This question is probably for all of you, and something no doubt people are wondering there. There's a big issue for a lot of people with the rights ownership with the Viacom channels. I mean, how flexible are you with that and in opening that up a little more in the future?
Speaking from my point of view, as I was alluding to a bit earlier, the deal that we've done with Plain Jane is a good example of how flexible and how it can be a conversation. There's nothing set in stone. I think come and talk to us. We'll work something out. It's not something that I'm part of. There are people who do that much better than me. But I think we can talk about making things work in a number of different ways for that large international landscape.
Is that the same?
I mean, I get asked that by everybody. It comes in because I think, choose my words, I think MTV's had a bit of a reputation on the rights issue.
I'd say so, yeah.
I used to pitch it, and it used to be a dish for me. I think it's much better. It just is. It just is, yeah, because everyone wants to keep their rights nowadays, and we have to realise that, and we have to realise if we want the best ideas, that it is much more workable than it used to be.
And is that the same for Comedy Central?
Yeah, it's slightly different for us, because obviously we're scripted, so we try to stick to sort of previously used pacts and union agreements, and scripted is different. The deals that everybody gets already with the BBC, we are forced into being much more malleable maybe than the MTV powerhouse is.
Where do you guys feel that you sit in, I guess, the hierarchy of commissioning programs? Do you feel that most ideas that are coming to you have already been turned down by terrestrial channels, or are people coming directly to you before them?
I mean, I don't really care as long as they're good ideas. I do like it if they take the channel off before they send it. That's quite nice. I don't really, yeah, of course. I notice it more with talent and agents, actually. They're the ones that really let you know because there's BBC Three, there's ITV2, and we tend to float more with before. I think since Geordie, I've had a certain type of show pitched exclusively, probably to me. A bit better, but I don't really. Everyone gets it. I think most people nearly always want to get a Channel 4 commission. When you're a producer, that's what you want it to go for, and so often the ideas kind of just float around.
I think people see what the channel is doing, or see what the channels are doing in my part worldwide, and hopefully they want to work within that framework, and they will tailor ideas to us rather than them being something they've just pulled out the back of the sofa. I'm certainly find people want to work with us. They're interested in where we can put our shows, how we, as Steve mentioned, how we can market them. We do back things. We have the money to back things, and we spend to back them as well.
A lot of people have said that. A lot of people said that because of the marketing, because your program gets noticed, because we all want our programs to be noticed. So a lot of people said that the marketing plays a big part into it.
We found as well with the talent to the talent thing, we used to have that problem, but Big Bad World, we found now when you get the script right, we've also got Caroline Quentin and James Fleet and all sorts of people in that. You can attract the right talent for the right show now. It's changing, I think. Definitely it's getting easier, but you do still get a huge amount of stuff with a great new show for E4 on the top.
Yeah. And our budgets are, comparable to terrestrials, and in the end, people just want to make money, don't they? So if you can pay for it, they'll bring in the good ideas.
Well, on the talent issue, are you guys looking for new faces for your channel and to groom, the new hosts of the world?
Yeah, because we had, before Geordie, nothing had been commissioned for quite a long time. And so, it's working. So it's kind of a good time to explore other avenues. And I think as well, I can remember just as a viewer, MTV being the place where I saw Russell Brand getting masturbated by another gay man, by a gay man in a pub. And I always remember that. I remember him, that was his first thing on TV. Davina McCall was on MTV. And so we haven't had that for a while, and we are about to do that. We've got Laura, who's fantastic, but we're about to look for some more faces, definitely.
You're right, we've broken a huge amount of talent over the years. It's gone on to be fantastic in other shows in other areas as well.
Yeah,
we've moved on, I'd say, from the VJ model. For us, Louise is a really good example of how she's there because she has explicit credibility in the world of fashion. She's a stylist, she's a designer, and she really knows what she's talking about, and she has this connection with the girls when she's talking about how they hold themselves, what they wear.
Yeah.
You can see it behind her eyes that she knows what she's doing, and the girls trust her. That's why it works.
So no, I just said, it's about the face it. When my boss said to me, she said, with MTV, you've got a hit show, not if people are watching it, if they're talking about it. And I think with MTV, often the shows may not have the highest rate, but you kind of know about them. And I think that's the same with talent, actually, because there has been so many people that broke on it.
Is that how you guys measure success at your channels? People talking about?
I think the audience that we all go for, that whole 1634 audience is very socially media active.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd ever. I think stuff like Geordie or The Valleys or even Celebrity, but I watch those shows with my computer on. You don't not watch those programs, and you're reading Twitter. That's part of it. Definitely.
When people come in and pitch to you, apart from having the wrong channel,
it doesn't happen that often.
On the brief, what is it you absolutely hate when people come in and pitch an idea, and what is it you love?
Oh God, I hate
pitching styles.
I can't bear it when people haven't watched the channel.
Yeah.
And so they're pitching us something that's very dark. It's very cool, and I probably would like to watch it, but I just have to watch it somewhere else. It's very quietly funny. And you just think, and of course, if you really believe in that show and it is your passion piece, then fair enough. But if you watched 3 seconds of Comedy Central, you'd realise it's just so very different. And I find that a little frustrating because it's wasted everyone's time.
I get sick and tired of people coming in and telling me that because I get loads of... In fact, I had an email yesterday. It was called, teens in care. And this email said to me, I'm always being told what you need to do is this and what you need to do is that. And we are expected to commission rather serious, searing insights into the teenage. So I get that an awful lot. And we're not doing that at the moment.
You must get an awful lot of pictures from groups of mates who have seen things like Geordie Shore.
Oh, yeah,
We're really funny.
They
Look
send
at
pictures
us.
in. They just send pictures. Yeah.
My family.
Yeah.
Drama.
Much like, I guess, when the height of Jackass is probably people doing ridiculous things to themselves and sending in videos.
We still get that.
You still get that as well. That's the fun part of the job.
It is.
Sifting through that.
There's a lot of clips to watch. I think people. Again, you know when people have, as Sarah was saying, whether it doesn't matter whether it's a scripted format or whatever. Yeah, you know when people know the channel or the network, and they know when they love and believe in their shows. For me, ultimately, I have to love the idea as much as the person pitching it to me, because I'm going to end up pitching it on their behalf to someone further up the food chain to myself. So, I've worked in development for many, many years on the indie side as well, and now as on the broadcaster side. So we try and be as collaborative as possible, and we're open to ideas. But I know everyone says surprise us. We do mean it. It'd be great to find more surprising ideas. And
I quite like ideas that potentially sound terrible. I do. I think when you get an idea where you go, that could be either amazing or that could be appalling, and I think those ideas are often...
But it's different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it is.
Anyone got a pitch in the audience they want to pitch right now? Anyone got a terrible idea they would like to pitch? Any questions? Can we get the lights up so we can get some questions from the audience? Up the middle there. Can we get a microphone here?
Would Sarah consider anything...
Oh, we don't need a microphone. Booming voice. Have you got a microphone?
would you consider non-scripted, Sarah?
It's sort of in a similar way. I will never say never to anything, but the focus is primarily on sitcoms, the channel. That said, I've got one pilot that we've just done that's absolutely fantastic that isn't scripted, and we've just recorded a show called The Alternative Comedy Experience, which is a stand-up show with Strictly. So never say never, but it's not a priority, and as long as you know that when you come in, that the chances are very slim, then if it's something that you firmly believe would suit that audience, would look at it. But that's a long-winded way of saying maybe, isn't it?
With the success of shows like The In-Betweeners and The Office going out to America, are you expecting the Threesome to do the same? And if it was, would it travel as a British show, or do you think it would be with American actors?
That is the biggest can of worms. Because every show is a case-by-case basis. Obviously, we've got Comedy Central in the US, who we would love to do something with. And we do share a couple of shows, The Daily Show and South Park, and a couple other bits and pieces here and there. But they're such a unique channel. I mean, this massive country, you can really focus and be very niche about what you're looking for in the US. We're a lot broader, and so are the other Comedy Centrals around. Ultimately, that's what we would love to find, but... bit by bit. Threesome itself is being discussed for a remake in the US. Maybe we'll sell the UK version over there as well, but it's all case by case.
Why do you think they insist on remaking these fantastic shows like The Office?
Because they tell us, and we have looked at this quite a lot, and it works for international as well, they find British shows, comedies especially, are populated with ugly people. And they say, gee,
America.
It's really funny, but why are those people so ugly? And you're like, well, that was at The In-Betweeners. And you're like, I don't know what 17-year-old boys are like in America, but that tends to be what they're like in the UK. They just don't think they're bright and breezy enough looking, physically looking, and they can make them with whiter teeth over there, I suppose. I don't know.
Any other questions? Up the back here, can we get a microphone up the back? Just let us know where you're from as well.
Traditional sketch show, like, I don't know, Armstrong and Miller, or The Fast Show, or anything like that. Do you think that's a dead genre now, or is there a chance it might get resuscitated? What's your view on that?
For Comedy Central or for Comedy Central? I think the problem, my personal opinion on this, is that the problem with sketch shows, it's too many opportunities to turn over, and you can't risk that in cable and satellite. You've got to be at it, and that's the one thing about, I think very much about Comedy Central commissions, is that we try and keep the pace up and the jokes going, which American shows do very well. Don't go, we've got another one. And, naturally, within even the greatest of sketch shows, I love the fashion massively, and I can still remember the bits where I went, oh, I don't like that bit as much. You can't do that, really. I don't think it shouldn't be dead, because, good God, there's so many, just outside here, happening in Edinburgh now, so many good sketch troupes. I don't know. It works very well on the internet. Once people start self-funding, or people funding for internet projects, I think it might revive a bit there. But for us, it's just too risky, I think, unfortunately.
Any other questions? No more questions. Oh, one over here. Where are you from?
MTV question, and I'm not being facetious. No, I'm not. I'm not. That's one. Would you consider music programming?
The simple for me, no.
Why not?
Oh, God. Because we can, this is for MTV. MTV US has not commissioned a music show for. It's an entertainment channel, and on a personal, music is so. We commission 4 series a year. Music is so personal. I mean, even on the BBC, you don't see music shows because it's so niche now. I think.
But also,
music.
there's a huge amount of music on MTV everywhere.
Yeah,
Music is riven through a great deal of our shows in all sorts of different ways, from pure performance things, such as we have a thing called World Stage. We have push artists who are supporting up and coming artists, and then we have our big awards properties like the MTV Europe Music Awards, the Video Music Awards, which are upcoming in the States soon. Those you'll see the biggest music talent in the world on our channels, on our stages. And there are other ways of telling music stories through the shows that we commission that are perhaps not understood as traditional music shows, but they're entertainment shows that have music in them.
But I won't be commissioning any music shows on 126.
Do you think there will be a name change at some stage from music television?
I doubt it.
No.
I know I've always thought about that, but obviously that's America, not us. No, don't think so. No. Do these big award shows, have they still got steam left in them, or do you think they're kind of dying off?
I believe so. Look at the talent involved. It's
the
biggest names in the world doing the biggest and best talk about things. I believe so. Yes. Hugely.
The problem with music shows is they're so very niche. They're about one tiny section of it, and MTV is very much about the broad, and keeping the ratings up and representing everybody. And you can't do that because you'll exclude too many other people, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. They just don't. I don't think they rate.
Yeah.
And that's been really honest. Yeah. It's big enough. If there was tons of money, then absolutely, but they just don't. Someone's going to come back at me now with a figure to prove me wrong.
No, I believe that's the same around the world. When I was a VJ in Australia, people would always grab you, why don't you show music anymore? Why don't you show music? And then when we did, nobody watched it.
There's people that work at MTV that are annoyed that we don't put music on. Yeah.
Any other questions? No more. Going once. Going. Oh, there you go. Where are you from? Whereabouts are you from? All right, very nice. And where do you work?
It's a really silly question. I'm sure I'm being very stupid asking it. You've got a ballet show there, which looks fantastic, and I was brought up close to there, and I'd really like to see that show, but I don't have the right channel. Is that a format? Do you have to pay for doing that?
Yeah, no, we did. It is a. Because you see, obviously that's the trailer, so it's trying to get the bits, but it is a format. True North, who pitched it, it is a format, actually, yeah, it is. So that's how, when they came and pitched I asked them to go and look at Wales. We had a rough talk about the idea. They went and formalised what the idea was. And so when we were doing the deal with them, we treated it as a format, absolutely, yes, and paid for it in that way as well.
So who originally owns that format? Is that Jersey Shore that owns that?
The Jersey Shore and Geordie Shore is owned by MTV US. So with Lime just make Geordie Shore for us. They don't have, I'm allowed to talk about rights, aren't I? They don't have any ownership of the rights, but it's different with the ballets because it was an idea that was brought to us.
But I still don't understand. I'm not talking about rights, I'm talking about format. In other words, it's a style of doing a show. Do you have to pay?
Oh, I see. Do you mean because there's similarities between the ballets and Geordie Shore? Yeah. No, because what you've got is you've got some people talking on green screen. That is where it's similar. In the same way that you can't say Made in Chelsea owes format rights to Essex. It's just different content.
It's just a style of shooting.
It's because we have cast talking on green screen, but it is a very different show.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, guys, before we end? No? Oh, thank you all for coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah, Steve and Ilya, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.